Imagine you are surrounded by a bunch of screaming teenage girls. There's flashing lights everywhere. There's reporters all over this big red carpet screaming names. Well, you just stepped into a Hollywood movie premiere. I've been to a few premieres myself, and they've all been really crazy experiences. But today I'm going to share with you a little bit about premieres, what to expect, what to bring, and then share with you some of my fun stories. So, first of all, what do you have to bring to a premiere? Well, there's two types of premieres. There's the ones that you show up for early in the morning, and then the ones you show up for days in advance. For both premieres, you need the essentials: food, stuff to eat, stuff to do, like crossword puzzles or an iPod, and a change of clothes. A lot of people, they get there early in the morning, and then they need to change so that they look nice to their celebrities, because they're all going to remember us later. And then you need to bring the stuff to science. Probably the most important thing. Most of the time people bring posters, or if you're going to a movie premiere based on a book, they bring the book. And you also need to bring your Sharpies. There's black Sharpies and there's silver Sharpies. I have made the mistake of bringing a black book or something and bringing a black Sharpie, and that's problematic because you can't sign a black book with a black Sharpie. So make sure you bring your two Sharpies and a bunch of them, because they'll get lost or they'll get on the floor. So make sure you bring those necessary things. Another thing to bring is a camera. Most of the time, I've done once where I've said, I'm only going to take like 20 pictures. I want a picture of this person, that person, that's it. And I ended up wanting to take like tons of pictures, and I could only take about 30, and I didn't get a lot of the pictures that I really wanted to take. So make sure you bring a camera with space on your scan card and with extra batteries, because they'll run out. So now you know what to bring. I'm going to share with you a little bit of fun stories that I've been able to experience. This is a picture from the Pirates of the Caribbean premiere. I went to the second one and the third one. And if you're familiar with Disneyland, the premiere started over at the front and then went down Main Street, around past Tomorrowland, front of the castle, and ended at Frontierland. And that's a really long carpet. But I was fortunate enough to be able to get a spot at the beginning of the carpet, which is a very important part of premiere experience. Make sure you know where to sit in advance, because if you say, oh, I'm going to sit at the end because I'll get all of them for sure, you probably won't, because by the end of the carpet they'll be extremely tired and signing, and they just go inside the movie. So make sure that you know where to sit. And another thing is getting your autographs. There are tons of people screaming your name off, so you need to make sure you get your hand out there. And most of the time, people, like for me, I bring books or posters, and you want to make sure you have it out there with the pen attached. They'll just grab it, they'll sign it really quick and go. But if you're not persuasive enough, I'll walk right past you, so make sure you do that. And for pictures, pretty much the same thing. You got to make sure that you're kind of out there, you're over the railing, whatever you can do to get that picture, because they're not paying attention to who you are, and you need to get out there and do that. And because of that, I was able to get this picture at this premiere. This is really exciting. Another thing is, if you want a picture with a famous celebrity, don't scream in their faces, because that definitely turns them off. But we were really nice to him, and he talked to us for a little bit, because we weren't screaming. Alright, the next premiere happened this past June, and it was the Twilight Saga Eclipse. And that was definitely an interesting experience. I camped out for 4 days in front of the Staples Center. And I think our tent was that one right there. And yeah, I know, it's a little crazy. And yes, I did take a shower. Sleep on the streets for 4 days without taking a shower. That was definitely a really fun experience. We got there at 3 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning, and got in line, got a wristband. We were there at 3, and we were 200th in line. So you got to make sure you get there early, especially for premieres as big as this one. And so, also part of what I told you to bring, make sure you bring stuff to do, well, they take good care of their fans. The first day was actually a Laker parade, and so we got front row seats to the Laker parade. It was right there on that street. And the second day, we got a free showing of the first 2 Twilight movies. And the third day, they had the celebrities come up, and people were, like, I think Carlisle, Peter Facinelli was coming and shaking the tents and freaking people out at like 2 o'clock in the morning. It was really fun. be able to do that. And the day of the actual premiere, they had over 500 people show up that were fans. We were lined up all along the premiere. I was actually over here towards the end. And I know I said earlier not to stand towards the end, but this actually worked out really well. We were the last people they saw, and most of the time if you're the last people, they kind of feel bad for you, and they came over, and we got to take some really awesome pictures. This was really fun. For these pictures, Robert Pattinson obviously extremely popular at this premiere for sure. And my friend and I, who's sitting right next to me, we kind of leaned over and we had to get this picture, and eventually you couldn't really resist me because I was right there. A funny story, I was on the phone with my mother who was crying her eyes out because I was standing next to Robert Pattinson. And so that was really fun. One last fun story. After this picture was taken, one of the security guards came over and handed my friend and I a ticket to the actual movie. So we were able to walk on the carpet, and actually we were able to stand right next to him as we walked in, and we got to chat with him for a little bit and go see the movie. So there's a lot of fun things to happen. I know most of you guys are probably not big enough fans to go spend 4 days camping out for a movie, but hopefully you can probably share the story with your friends. You don't get anything out of it. I'm sure you have a great story to tell people about that crazy girl in your speech class, 4 days on the streets of LA, that stupid vampire movie.
Hang out in front of the computer. Yeah, you got your picture of that. Then you get your picture of that. First second visual.
All right, well, you've got a nice visualization at the beginning. You've got a solid statement of what your goal is for the audience. There's a preview. I don't know that you ever follow that once you get into the speech, except you've got the stories that you're telling, and mostly the speech follows the particular stories, and they're fun. The visuals are integrated pretty well. I think everybody enjoys getting to see the pictures of what you're talking about, so it's not just something abstract. There's something that goes with it that's a little bit concrete. I thought it was a little strange the way you stood at an angle for most of the presentation so that you're facing that wall, and this half of the audience, excuse me, is largely not a part of the situation and circumstances. Now, once in a while you did turn over in this direction, but from the very beginning it really seems like the focus is going to be on the pictures up here instead of me and the audience, and so it does take us a little bit out of the situation. You had some good indicators while you were speaking. Your face is animated while you're talking. You're especially enjoying yourself. But your eye contact, you frequently look down and away. You look at the visuals quite a bit. You need to engage the audience. Don't get carried away with the topic that you're talking about, but remember that you're talking to an audience here. Your voice, you drop the volume in your voice in a lot of spaces. A lot of times I think you're doing it for effect. Like at the end, for instance, when you're doing your conclusion, you say, and you can remember that crazy girl who was in your class, you know, that sort of thing. Well, I think when you're doing it for an effect, then dropping your voice might work a little bit. But it really seems like you do it sometimes and there's not a reason that's going on there. Or it's a transition thing that you're doing as I'm moving from one idea to the and then we're going to the next thing, you know, that sort of thing. And it doesn't work very well. So you want to be a little bit more consistent about projecting your voice and having a little more control over what's going on. All right. Thank you.